Hey everybody, how's it going? Dr. Seth here with the Cafe of Life Chiropractic Center. We are doing our first webinar broadcast. This is super exciting. I'm committed to doing a whole lot more of these in 2019, but I thought I'd drop the first one here in December because the topic is super appropriate. It is entitled Stressed Out, How to Survive the Holiday Red Zone. I know most of us just got back from the first red zone, but now we're going into that deep red holiday red zone here at the end of the month. We've got, got Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and then right into New Year's. This is definitely a stressful time. So I wanted to be able to give you guys some information, some tools, and some tips about how to get through this holiday season healthy, happy, so that we can enjoy and be grateful and get the best out of the whole holiday season. So here we go. This is kind of a new platform for us, so we're going to be playing around. Bear with us if we have some technical difficulties, but let's go ahead and get right to it, okay? So holidays, super stressful, right? Let's see what we can do to stay in the holiday, not red zone, but we want to stay just totally in the blue zone, right? Or the green zone, or whatever holiday it is that you're going to do, Hanukkah, Christmas, and so forth. Anyway, let's take a look at some data. I like to start off by taking a look at some data and see, well, how do we know? Is the holiday time really so stressful? Let's take a look at this graph. This graph is super helpful to take a look at. It's the daily U.S. cardiac deaths from 1973 to 2001, okay? Yes, I know it's a little bit old. However, I don't think things are changing all that much. You can tell me if you disagree. Feel free to comment, give me a thumbs up, or whatever it is that you do here on these different platforms. But let's take a look at the bottom. It's the day of death. And over on the left, we have the number of deaths from heart disease. Okay? So let's take a look. It goes from July 1 to June 30th. Right down in the middle, we see Christmas and New Year's. Definitely look at the increase in cardiac deaths. So obviously, the holiday season is a stressful season, okay? It just correlates with the amount of stress that we have during that type of year. I'm sure you've experienced it. I've experienced definitely a stressful time. So what can we do during this stressful time to ensure that we keep our stress levels low and that we don't have a myocardial infarction ourselves, okay? Well, the way I look at it is we have this economy of our four limited resources, right? So we have our time, we have our energy, we have our focus, and we have our money. Okay, how are we going to use these different resources during this holiday season so that we can get the most out of it? Okay, holiday creates a huge demand for all of us during this time. All of these resources are being picked and pulled out, and we have to be very careful about how we utilize these resources, all right? Because we don't want to be in that chronic stress response. You know, our autonomic nerve system, the nerve system that things happen automatically, like our blood flowing through our body, like breathing and so forth. We have our autonomic nerve system is broken down into two different types of systems. We have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic. Sympathetic is fight or flight, and sympathetic is rest and digest. You guys all know what I'm talking about. Most of you guys have heard fight or flight versus rest and digest, and in fact, we talk about it in the office all the time. So let's take a look at that stress response. Let's see what that actually happens, what happens to our body when we're going through that stress response. So remember, when we're in our stress response, chronic stress, our cortisol hormone, which is our stress hormone, is pumping, and it's just pumping, right? Now, this is the kind of situation where if we were in nature, a tiger or a lion or whatever animal you can imagine is chasing after us. So what happens during that time? Our stress hormone production goes up, our cortisol goes up, our melatonin goes down. So definitely super hard to sleep during these stressful times. When our stress is going, our melatonin production goes down, so we can't sleep all that well. Our blood pressure increases. We start to upregulate cholesterol. That can't be too helpful for the cardiac conditions as well. We start to upregulate our clotting factors, so our blood starts to clot. We downregulate insulin sensitivity. So what does that mean? So insulin sensitivity is basically pumping a whole lot of sugar into our body. Insulin deals with the sugar, and if we're downregulating that insulin sensitivity, it means that it's dumping more sugar in the body, so that can't be good. That could definitely lead towards cardiac issues as well, type 2 diabetes and so forth. We get an increase in inflammation and swelling when we're in this stress response. So when we're stressed out, we have more aches, we have more pains, we have more joint issues. It weakens our connective tissues, and our immune system is downregulated. So when we're stressed out and we're in sympathetic mode and we're running for our lives, our immune system and fighting off bacteria and fighting off colds, it's not a high priority. We're running for our lives here. So this is what the stress response looks like. And this is what we're trying to avoid during that holiday season, right? So taking a look at the stress response, again, there's the stress response. So what we have to be able to do is we have to talk about, our body signals, right? I like the term of this, our body signals program. We go over a bunch of different conditions over the course of the year. Symptoms are body signals. They're your body's way of asking for help. And the question is, are you listening, right? Signs and symptoms, our bodies are smart, okay? Our body is smart and we're made to be healthy, okay? If your body has signals, it means it's asking you to do something, right? Your body's trying to tell you something. There's a problem. There's a stress that your body can't adapt to, and so it's giving you information. What are you choosing to do with that information, right? So let's talk about, this is the illness-wellness continuum. Many of you guys have maybe seen this during our Better Results Faster, or you see in our intake forms at the office. What do your symptoms really say about your health? Okay, health is dynamic. It's always moving in one direction or another. It's never stagnant, right? What direction are you moving towards? Are you moving towards premature death, or are you moving towards a high level of wellness? Symptoms kind of tell you, well, what direction are you headed in? If you have a lot of symptoms, it means you're heading in the wrong direction. But you don't want to mask those symptoms, right? That's a treatment paradigm. Treatment paradigm basically says, okay, we have these symptoms, we have disabilities, let's pump our bodies full of drugs, let's mask those symptoms, and if we mask those symptoms and we get rid of those symptoms, then we must be healthy, right? No, not right. So with the treatment paradigm, when you mask those symptoms, it brings you to this neutral point, right? So a neutral point is, I'm not necessarily sick, but I'm not necessarily healthy either. And so in our office, in our philosophy, we do more of what's called the wellness paradigm. So in the wellness paradigm, certainly, yeah, people come into our office at least with signs and symptoms. I'd love to say that people kind of slide down a rainbow into our office and say, hey, Dr. Seth, I feel great. I just want to I don't have any signs or any symptoms. I actually woke up. I feel awesome. I just, want to be able to express my fullest potential for health naturally. Sometimes patients come in after coming from other chiropractors and they're just looking for wellness, but large majority of people that come in, they have a specific complaint, right? They have signs, they have symptoms, and we address them in the office because, yes, obviously people want to feel better, they want to function better. But when we do that, after we do that, we want to create an awareness as to, what caused those symptoms? What caused those symptoms? And, we want to create an educational process on what caused those symptoms, what can be done in our office, how can we help, what can you do more specifically outside the office to help with these different conditions. And we want to help patients grow into the healthiest human beings that they possibly can. So symptoms really tell us a lot about where we're headed. Are we headed towards illness or are we headed towards health and well-being? And we have to listen, right? Okay, so let's go here. So did you know that how you feel and how you function are definitely a confusing just concept to get around, okay? Did you know that less than 10% of your nerves sense pain, right? So taking a look at this feeling versus function chart, look at these different nerves over here. We have the motor nerves, we have the autonomic nerves, and we have the sensory nerves. If we take a look at the sensory nerves, it's really just 10% of the nerves that actually feel pain. It's actually less than that, but which means that this most commonly happening without pain or other obvious symptoms. The most common symptom of subluxation is no symptom at all. This is true for most health issues. If pain is usually the last thing in a process to show up, and it's typically the first thing to go away. So how we feel doesn't necessarily correspond with how we're functioning. I think it's fair to say if you feel like crap all the time and you're just feeling down and you have low energy and you have symptoms all the time, that there's something wrong. But just because you feel good doesn't necessarily mean that you're healthy. So I just kind of wanted to go over that concept because this concept sometimes is hard for people to kind of digest when they come into that. Like, hey, how do you know you're healthy? Well, I know I'm healthy if I feel better, if I feel good. If I'm feeling good, I'm feeling vibrant, I must be healthy. Well, that's not necessarily true. All right. So how about, better outcomes start with a better premise. All right. So here's our premise. Our premise at the office is that healthy is normal. Okay. It's normal to be healthy. If you have headaches all the time, digestion issues all the time, aches and pains all the time, I think a lot of my patients come in, they're like, well, I'm getting old and this is normal. And no, it might be common, but common is different than normal. Okay. Don't mistake the two. People that come in all the time that have it's neck pain, muscle tension and neck tension and headaches, that's normal. No, it's not normal. It's common because our society is a very head-forward society, and we're at the computer and we're driving and we have all these different types of head-forward posture, phones and iPads and all that stuff. But that's not normal. It's normal for our bodies to be healthy. Your body is smart, right? Our bodies are super smart. Think about it. Sperm, egg come together, one cell with cell proliferation. That cell now, you and I here, approximately 70 trillion cells, 70 trillion cells. That is incredibly smart. Our bodies are smart. And so the same power that made us and created from one cell to 70 trillion cells, you better believe also has the ability to help heal ourselves. And so the body's smart. It wants to self-regulate and it wants to self-heal. The nervous system is the master communication system of the body, right? So all other systems are controlled and regulated by the nervous system. So we have the cardiovascular system, or the lymphatic system, or the digestive system, musculoskeletal system. All of these systems are under direct control of the nervous system. It's the master system. So the spine is your suit of armor. Did you know that the nervous system is encapsulated within your skull, right? So you have your skull, which is where your brain is. Your brain comes down into this little structure called the brain stem. And then from the brain stem, it goes down into the spinal cord. And then at the spinal cord, at every level of your spine, it goes off to every cell, tissue, and organ of your whole entire body. And so that's why it's so important that God gave us this beautiful suit of armor, which is the spine, to protect the nervous system. And the last concept about this premise is that our modern lives are unnaturally stressful. No, our ancestors did not deal with this kind of chronic, bombardment of stress all the time. Think about it. Our news feed, our social feed, just everything is just stressful, 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 stressful. Our ancestors, they had famine, they went out, they hunted, they gathered, they ate, okay? Maybe every once in a while they were worried about, fighting off a neighboring tribe or something like that. But in between, for days and days and days, it was chill. There was no problems, okay? So they did not have this kind of stress. Our modern life, it's unnaturally stressful. Our bodies are not meant to deal with this kind of stress. So what kind of stress are we talking about? We're talking about the 3 T's, our thoughts, our toxins, and our traumas. All of these make a huge impact on our health and our quality of life. So, and all 3 are coming at you hardcore over the holiday season. I guarantee you, okay? Think about it. They're coming at us. So hands up, give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a comment if you agree. All right, so let's take a look. Merry Christmas, okay? All 3 of these stresses are coming at you, and we got to make sure that we're ready. So I believe I'm of the concept of that people don't get sick, right? You do sick. I believe in a healthy host, right? If we got sick, then everybody would be sick, right? Why is it that, you can sneeze on me and you can sneeze on a couple people next to me, or you can, rub snot all over me or whoever, and some people get sick and some people don't get sick. It's because a healthy host, right? If you don't take care of yourself, you're going to get sick. But if you take care of yourself, your body's going to be able to handle that, okay? So negative and positive consequences of your choices and your behaviors. And that's a good thing, right? Because we can definitely control, what's coming at us and how our bodies respond to that. So let's take a look here for the holiday season, and let's see. Let's take a look. How do we thrive during the holiday season, okay? Because this year, we're going to choose to thrive in the holiday season instead of just survive, all right? So there's two sides of the same coin here. We want to reduce stress, and we want to increase our tolerance. The healthiest people in the world know this about health and healing. When it comes to thriving in an unnatural and unnaturally stressful modern world, you need to understand and address both sides of this coin. Stress reduction and stress tolerance. So remember, we have these 3 T's: our thoughts, our toxins, and our traumas. So how about we start with this? How about we start with the do's and the don'ts, right? So let's talk about the stop doing approach towards the 3 primary lifestyle domains: how we choose to eat, how we choose to move, and how we choose to think, especially during this holiday season, okay? So, think to thrive. Choose your attitude, okay? Attitude is big. Everybody comes in and we have a choice. What kind of attitude are we going to bring to this holiday season? Are we going to bring the attitude of like, oh no, I'm going to have to deal with Uncle so-and-so or Aunt so-and-so or Cousin so-and-so, and it's going to be horrible, and the kids are going to be running around, and it's going to be loud? Or are we going to choose to have an attitude of gratitude? Attitude of gratitude, just going in there, being happy that you can be of service. And so showing up and how we show up with our attitude is definitely going to play a major role in how we're able to get through this holiday season, all right? Choosing to connect, choosing to have acceptance, and choosing to respect the other people around you, that's really what we want to do, as far as our attitude. We want to have an attitude of acceptance, an attitude of being respectful towards our family, and connection, right? I mean, that's what the holiday season's about, being able to connect with people that we haven't been with in a long period of time. And then, unconditional love, right? Just bring it in. Bring it in and love those people for who they are. Sometimes I might disagree with some of my family members, and I might think, gosh, it's like I'm so on the opposite side of the spectrum from where these people are. We think differently, we act differently, our lives are just completely different. But you know what? They're family, and you just love them because you just love them. Like, hey, unconditional love, that's really the place to come from all times, but especially during the holiday season. And give people grace. People are stressed out. You think you're stressed out, they're stressed out too. And they're not always at their best behavior, but sometimes we just have to give people a little bit of grace and just be like, hey, you know what? It's okay if you're acting like an ass. It's just give them a little bit of grace, okay? It's the holiday time. So let's talk a little bit more about one other serious important issue during the holiday season, which is sleep, okay? We want to sleep to thrive. So we have to protect our rhythms, right? Our body does well in rhythms. When we go to sleep at the same time every day, and we wake up at the same time every morning, and we try to have get up, take naps, do an e-fast. So put the media down, put the TV down, put the iPad down, put the phone down before you go to bed. Read a book for a little while. Don't overcommit yourself, okay? Make sure that you get enough rest and check your expectations, right? I learned a lesson many, many, many years ago. And I made the distinction is that if I set my expectations just a little bit lower, that anything above and beyond that is just a bonus, right? I set the expectations high for myself, but when it comes to other people, you know what? I have a certain level of expectations, but I don't get it out of proportion, especially during the holiday season. And anything that is above and beyond that happens is just a bonus, all right? So how about eat to thrive? Okay. This is a big one, right? Never go hungry. Fill yourself with healthy foods, right? Drink lots of water before you show up to those big, monstrous meals. And just eat some healthy food before you get there. If you eat some healthy food before you get there and you drink lots of water, that's a super helpful tip. The battle's won at the register, right? So don't buy a bunch of crap this holiday season. Buy healthy food. You can have healthy holiday meals. Not all these holiday meals need to just be completely gluttonous. Don't drink your calories. Okay, drinking your calories are just going to increase your increase your inflammation, I can assure you. Okay, most things that you drink other than water are going to increase inflammation in your system. So make sure to eat healthfully before you show up to these monster meals. You'll be thankful that you did. And avoid the white stuff. It's just simple, right? Avoid the flour, avoid the sugar, avoid high concentrations of salt, and that's definitely going to be helpful. Okay? And then, how about this? Supplement to thrive. What kind of supplements can you take during this holiday season? There's some supplements that you can do. Take some probiotics. Make sure that the flora in your digestive system is healthy, okay? We have all kinds of unhealthy flora in the stomach. We want to make sure to combat that and make sure to have some probiotics in there. Vitamin D is a good one. It's dark, especially, it's getting colder and darker in most areas of the country. So make sure to bone up on some vitamin D3. Olive leaf extract is just good for that immune system. Fish oil, omega-3 fatty acids. You can't get enough of that stuff, making sure it has so many different types of health benefits, especially for inflammation, mood, chronic stress. Omega-3s are really good, so fish oils, highly recommended during this holiday time. All right, so let's talk about our traumas, okay? So during the holiday season, we have traumas, we have macro traumas, right? We've talked about two different types of physical traumas. One of them is macro traumas. That's the falls, the car accidents, sports injuries, the obvious stuff. These traumas can obviously, cause problems, but a serious condition for you to understand when you get these macro traumas is what we call a subluxation, all right? So subluxation is a joint misalignment. When we get joint misalignments, that creates soft tissue damage. So in between the vertebrae, we have discs, we have muscles, ligaments, tendons, cartilage, and so forth. When we get a joint misalignment, that will put pressure on the soft tissue, will create soft tissue damage. That is going to create inflammation, which will then cause nerve irritation. Now, when that nerve gets irritated, that is going to cause a muscle spasm. Because we said earlier, the body's smart, right? The body is smart. It wants to protect itself. So when it's protecting itself, if you have a misalignment and it's putting pressure on that nerve, that muscle tension, that muscle spasm, the body's smart, that muscle spasm will pull, and pull you away from that nerve. That is a natural protection mechanism. And so that muscle spasm will pull you away from the nerve, taking the pressure off the nerve. However, that muscle spasm, if it's left for long periods of time, will cause a joint fixation. And when you get a joint fixation and it doesn't move properly, then the body wants to compress. And we all know what happens when the body compresses. That is called spinal arthritis, spinal degeneration, leads to disc disease and all bad stuff. But you know what else happens during the subluxation process? When the body is subluxated, it causes cortisol, stress hormone production. And we talked about what happens when we have that stress, right? Fight or flight, chronic stress. What happens when we have that chronic stress? Let's go back to it, right? Stress hormone production, melatonin, blood pressure, downregulating insulin sensitivity, dumping a whole bunch of sugar in your blood system. Not a good thing. Immune system goes down. Last thing we need during the holiday season is a weakened immune system. Those holiday colds, let's just face it, they stink really bad. So we're going to want to avoid that. So avoiding the different types of traumas, remember we have the chemical traumas, mental and emotional traumas, physical traumas, all of them lead to subluxation. And this subluxation will lead to chronic stress. And chronic stress is no good. We're trying to avoid that this holiday season, right? So micro traumas. So during the holiday season, micro traumas are far more obvious when people come into the office. I'd say large majority of people that come into the office have quite a bit of micro trauma. And I'd say 85 to 90% of people are coming in with micro repetitive stress, right? So what are we doing all day? We're on our phones all day, computers all day, driving around the Bay Area all day, bending, lifting, and twisting all day. Everybody's got a pattern. What's your pattern, right? Are you doing manual labor? Are you double fisting it with the kids? Are you a desk jockey? Hopefully, if you are, you're getting that standing workstation. But micro repetitive trauma, that causes subluxation as well, okay? sitting too much. Sitting is the new smoking, and especially the kids, right? We've got to get these kids having healthier habits than what we're doing, right? So we want to make sure that we're modeling healthy behaviors for our kids. If we're looking down at the phones and we're at the computer all day and we're not, showing good healthy habits, our kids are looking at these unhealthy habits, and they're creating subluxation and postural patterns as well, and that's what we're looking to try to avoid. So what's all of this doing? It's causing subluxation, right? And take a look at this. Subluxation causes nerve irritation and interference in your body's innate ability to adapt to stress, right? So when you have subluxation, your body just cannot adapt to stress properly, right? So what do we need to do? We're stressed out. Raise your hand if you think that our modern life is stressful, okay? Give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me a comment if you think that our bodies are stressed out. Certainly during the holiday red zone, it's going to be a lot of stress in the body, right? So who here knows, which one of you watching this webinar knows what system in the body helps you deal with infection, right? That's the immune system. What system in your body helps you to deal with food? That's right, it's the digestive system. What system in your body helps you deal with gravity and movement? Yeah, it's the musculoskeletal system. So what system in your body helps you deal with stress? Anybody there know? Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think it is, all right? What deals with stress? No one seems to know. What system in our body deals with stress? Here's what I know. There are definitely great strategies for you to employ to reduce stress, and you should. But let's face it, we're all going to be facing a lot of stress in our lives, no matter what we do. So why not learn how to build your tolerance to stress that we are going to face day in and day out? Who wouldn't want to know how to deal with that kind of stress? So it's the nervous system that helps you adapt to stress. Your nervous system that helps you cope and tolerate with stress. And a highly functional nervous system will help you thrive in our crazy, unnaturally stressful world. Your nervous system works in concert with your endocrine system, your immune system, your digestive system to keep you thriving. The flow of the intelligence that keeps you healthy and healing. And so it's so critical that it's protected by the skull, and it's also protected by the spinal column, which is your suit of armor. It's the nerve system that helps you adapt to stress. So adjust to thrive. Okay, that's my job. That's what we do in the office all day long, right? Remember, healthy is normal. Your body is smart. It's the nerve system as the master communication system of your body. And it's that suit of armor that protects your nerve system. And our modern lives are unnaturally stressful. This stress causes subluxation. And so adjust to thrive. When we adjust the spine, we correct the subluxation, we get the pressure off the nerve, that nerve communicates better. And when that nerve communicates better, that helps you deal with stress. It helps you reduce stress. It helps you tolerate stress. And it just helps you thrive. Okay, it keeps your immune system functioning. So how do you know if you have subluxation? Well, you only know if you have subluxation if you get checked by a chiropractor. Chiropractors are the only discipline, only doctors that are trained to detect and to correct subluxations of the spine. In our office, we have 5 criteria that we do to determine if you have subluxation. First is instrumentation. We've got thermography that measures heat. Heat is indicative of blood flow, which can be indicative of organ and glandular function. We have EMG, electromyogram, that helps us measure what's going on with the muscles. Are those muscles working too hard? Are they not working hard enough? Then we do motion palpation. So, yes, we want to make sure that those joints are moving properly. If those joints are moving properly, the inflammation is down, and there's no pressure on the soft tissue, and there's no pressure on those nerves. But if there is reduced motion in through there, there's going to be inflammation, and there's going to be pressure on the nerves. And then static palpation. We just feel with it. Which one feels like it's inflamed? Which one feels like a bruised apple? Visualization is key, right? So we're taking a look at your posture. We can gain a couple different things from posture. Posture is a window to what's going on with your body. So it would make sense that we want to have our head over our shoulders. We want our shoulders over our hip. And we want there to be symmetry from side to side. Taking a look at you from the side, we want to make sure that the head is over the shoulders, that there's no anterior forward head carriage. And if there is asymmetry, if you do have subluxation and you are putting pressure on that nerve, wouldn't it make sense that your body would want to shift away from that and lean towards another side? So yes, we put people on bilateral balances to be able to measure the differential between how you're both holding your body from one side to the other. And then we do x-ray analysis. You know, picture's worth 1,000 words. We have digital x-ray in the office. I've invested in the best equipment to get the best images with the least amount of exposure. So body signals, your body is telling you something. We have to listen to it, right? So in our office, we talk about a 3-legged stool to kind of help to correct these subluxation. The first one is breaking your bad habits. Obviously, it's our bad habits and our lifestyle that's contributing to what's going on with our bodies. So we have to take a look at our day-to-day activities. How can we change our day-to-day activities so that we can reduce the amount of stress and tension that we're putting on our bodies? We have to make smarter choices. Adding specific exercises, right? We want to get strong and we want to get health. We want to get strong. We want to be able to hold ourselves in a proper posture. So adding specific exercises to be able to make sure that our body can hold ourselves in the right position. And then chiropractic adjustments, getting adjustments in rhythm. That's what we do all the time in the office. That's our mojo. That's what we do, right? That's what you guys know. So getting your adjustments in rhythm. You know, our bodies do better in rhythm. You know I love that word, right? Getting adjusted in rhythm, changing the bad habits, making sure that we're strong and healthy. That's how we correct the cause of subluxation. And remember, when you're subluxated, that decreases your ability to tolerate stress, and it decreases your ability to be able to reduce stress. And so that's the last thing that we need during the holiday season. So here's a dangerous belief for you. Your problems will go away if you ignore them. They're not going to, okay? If you're experiencing stress, if you're experiencing tension, aches and pains and so forth, get it checked out, okay? You know the office is available to you all the time. We want to be able to help you and your family deal with decreasing the amount of stress in your lives. Less stress just means more health, more happiness, and so we're here for you, okay? If you're watching this webinar and you're not a patient of ours, love to extend an offer for you. We have a full introduction visits to the office, full consultation, full evaluation. We do postural analysis. We do the technology with the different scans. We also do any x-rays if necessary. Normally that couple visit sequence is $315. But if you're watching this webinar, we'd like to be able to offer that to you for our friends and family rate, which is $47. So go ahead and contact the office if you'd like to get checked for the subluxation, and let's keep it stress-free during the holiday season, okay? Stress, we don't want to be at the peak of that curve that we went over in the very beginning of this webinar series. We want to make sure that we have a happy, healthy holiday season, and we can do that, we can control that if we take care of the 3 T's, right? Our thoughts, our toxins, and our traumas. Okay, and make sure to get adjusted. When you get adjusted, you know you're going to be able to handle all those different 3 types of stresses way better. Okay, thanks for joining us for this webinar series about how to stay healthy during the holiday red zone. And share it with somebody if you know that somebody can benefit from this information. We encourage you to share this information because our mission in the office is to educate and adjust as many families back towards natural health through chiropractic wellness care. All right, so have a great holiday season, and we will be catching up with you in the office real soon. All right, thanks.